The Hive Tyrant, one of two bosses in operations mode that got a big buff in patch 3.0, resulting in a much more entertaining fight. But some people have started to struggle with the Tyrant not being blitzed down so easily with crack and meltas. So in this video, I'm going to showcase me soloing the Tyrant on my Vanguard in Ruthless difficulty. The way I'm going to approach this is by watching the playback with you, providing commentary and discussing how to dodge specific attacks, possible follow-ups for certain movesets, and what have you. This was during a live stream, so it's not 100% clean gameplay, and that's totally fine. I'd rather show you what mistakes I made, how I worked around them, or what I would have done differently than show you flawless edited gameplay. But in my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge of my videos, the big things you need to know going into the Hive Tyrant fight is that you should always dodge the psychic auras that are shot out in the second phase by dodging forward. Any other direction becomes far too tricky. Also, dodging with gun strikes or parrying with gun strikes can burst the Tyrant down in no time. My last tip is to find melta-bombs and crack grenades in the latter part of the Decapitation mission. When the second phase starts, the Tyrant's health bar will replenish back to full. That's when you detonate any bombs and throw any cracks. This is far less effective after the patch, but free damage is free damage. If you have a tactical, using Auspex is huge here, as it used to fully gib the Tyrant on the second phase, but now it'll do like 75% damage. It's disgusting. Also, another quick note to here, with multiple melta-bombs, one will detonate the other, so you don't need to worry about timing too much if two people are to drop them. But that's the down and dirty of this video. I'll be showing actual gameplay here and how I'll be pushing through it, but feel free to shut the video down and get back to enjoying Space Marine 2 if that is all you wanted to know. You can navigate to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chapters with the timeline in the description. And before you head out, please don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe if this video ends up helping you, as each one of those things does have a huge impact on my channel. Also, check out my Twitch linked below, where I stream this game and many others every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with plenty of giveaways. Let's get started here on how to solo the Hive Tyrant in Space Marine 2. So how we're going to do this is pretty low tech. I've taken all my clips using shadow play and I put them into one solid one here so we can just go through this. I'm going to be using some annotation software so I can write and draw on the screen like I'm John Madden. But again, it's going to be pretty low tech here. Let's go ahead and just simply start off the fight. Again, this is Ruthless. I am a Vanguard. I am solo on here. I think everything is Relic, which won't really matter because really the big thing is going to be gun strikes here, right? So opening up this fight is that big initial leap, right? That's the first thing you're going to want to dodge if you're doing this solo. It's the first thing you're going to want to deal with. And that leap will lead into this attack. That leap is going to be you're going to deal with it quite a bit. And you see right there, you know, let's just kind of go back. Health, you can get a sense for this. We do have a heavy and a tactical as our bots, which is pretty fortunate, but right here, watch that health bar right at the top. We're about, I'd say like what, 95%? It's a good little chunk of health that just kind of gets dropped down. And if we can just get those enabled enough, we're going to keep a very good bit of momentum here. So right there, we got hit with the lash. Now, obviously, you're going to want to dodge this. And every time you get hit with the lash, there are two possible follow-ups. Let's see what her first one is. That's the first follow-up that it could possibly happen. It is a parryable attack. In this case, I'm dodging. You feel free to parry it. Whatever's going to really enable you to comfortably get a gun strike. I went with a dodge because it's just kind of what felt right for my muscle memory. Now, the other attack that can happen in that instance is a pretty abrupt smash down. I think it really depends on what your distance is to the Tyrant to determine if they're going to do that attack, the smash down, or this parryable lunge attack, which we open up with just another gun strike. And lash right there, and if you dodge it, you dodge it. So when they drag that sword, you see how this drag attack comes at you. The best thing here is not to get hit with it, but is to try to wait for it to come and then dodge, because that one will typically lead into a nice big charge. Now, this charge is going to come back to haunt me, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit better, but there is something that you'll know. Typically the charge, if you're familiar with MMOs, there is a term called aggro dumping, where sometimes bosses, when you're fighting in World of Warcraft as an MMO, where they will dump aggro and choose a new target, something that maybe has dealt a good amount of damage to them, whatever it is. You'll watch this. It dumps aggro, it chooses the heavy as its new target, and it goes. I'm going to turn this up so you can hear this. There is a vocal cue, an audio cue that you can hear when this happens. And it's pretty much a big old roar. So I'm going to bring this back, and I'm not going to talk for a sec. It's not as pronounced here. We're going to hear it way better in the second phase. But when you hear that roar, that's a time, even if the Tyrant's not on you, to get eyes on the Tyrant, see what's going to happen, because it might be coming towards you. Of course, you're going to get the red icon letting you know that it is about to bulldoze through you, but it's a pretty hard attack to get away from and dodge. And in these times when you don't actually have any aggro, just go ahead and aim for the head and miss like I was doing, but still. So you saw the big yell. Not always is that going to be like that big charge. It's in phase 2, it's way big. So you get that big jump lunge like we talked about, dodge it, and try to get as much as you can into it from a gun trek perspective. Try and dodge that lash. As long as you don't get hit with the lash, there will not be a follow-up attack. So if you saw here, lash comes at us, dodged it, no follow-up attack. Otherwise, it would have been the ground pound or the parryable attack. And one thing I do want to, let's see if this works. Control this. Yeah. I want to note is the ammo cache. When you do this fight, find the ammo cache as like a quick thing immediately, because the Tyrant's going to choose one target to focus on. Hopefully it's a bot. If you're playing with friends, it might be one of your friends. Just someone has to go and find where the ammo cache is, because this is really what's going to be the saving grace for you, especially if you're playing on, if you're playing as a heavy or playing alongside heavies. They're going to want to replenish their ammo as much as you can. What you'll also notice too are more grenades and possibly meds. What's nice here is sometimes you can get a melter grenade, so this can be a great chance to stack up additional meltas. I have 2 crack grenades on me, so I'm not going to be swapping anything off right now. But again, this is a good place to look for any additional equipment. Let her do her thing, because we're coming up to around that 50% mark where we'll get our first set of ads. And that will become our priority, because you'll see what happens as we deal with those ads if I get any aggro from the Tyrant. And just have fun shooting at the head in the meantime. Head has, like, I think it's a 4x multiplier, so it's a lot of damage. So big lunge there. We got completely out of the way of it. The movesets do change in the second phase. So right around here, you should hear a little bit further back. You'll hear that, like, that kind of like that tweeting noise, you know, the trilling that Tyranids do. That's when eyes up, look to. Let me see if I can kind of find a good spot here. There, perfect. That's when we're going to look to this location, and I think it's this one. This location. Those are your 2 spots where the ads might come in. And I might have lied. I might actually have been this one, but it's hard for me to get perspective here. But those are your 2 locations. You want to see if there's any ads there, because you want to get them down as fast as you can. Ads in this fight can be devastating. Even just a single gaunt, because it can mess up your timing to dodge and parry the Tyrant's attacks more than theirs. Of course, obviously getting a quick parry on a gaunt kills it immediately. That's great. But a single warrior can mess you up bad. And you'll see that I believe that happens to me here in this first portion. Let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit more again. And we're just gonna dodge these attacks, parry them if you want. I realistically, you probably should parry those parryables. I'm just in such a mindset right now of dodging, because I'm playing solo. It's putting me in a mindset to just try to get out of bad situations and just push through the gaunts. I got really lucky here. I got a 100% gaunt wave, so there's no warriors in this. All we have to do is pretty much perfect parry our way to victory and try and kill whatever we can, and dodge anytime she decides to jump onto you, because that is going to happen. You think you might be good, but all of a sudden she'll just kind of switch targets to you and mess you up just like that, back to back. And with patch 3.0, we can take advantage of what might be patched out. So I've got 2 Medicaid coming into this. We just got hit with just 2 real poor, a parry and a poor dodge. So you'll see right here, I missed the parry, got hit hard, took my armor out, just dodged real poorly timed, and my armor got chunked apart. and we got hit again. It's worth noting that once you drop below this 25% bracket, you will get an additional bit of damage reduction, meaning an attack that would have taken more health away from you had you been higher health will take away less health from you. So if you can see what we just did here, we had all this contested white health. We used a Medicae, and it will bring us all the way back to full health. So take advantage of that. If you have a whole big chunk of contested health, even if you have a little bit of contested health, a single Medicae will give you a lot more than it ever has because of maybe a bug or whatever. However, the way that the patch 3.0 Medicae works, it restores contested health plus the additional health it would have given you had you just been using it without any contested health. So it's a lot of health back to you. This brings us back into the fight. Well, I mean, you can see we're still nowhere near pushing into the second phase. But what I want you to see too here is, you might be able to hear it a little bit better right now. No, a little bit further back. It's a pretty loud scream. Yeah, and just go ahead and mess that up right there. And I swear in the second phase is more pronounced. But when you hear that scream, like I said, eyes up, find where the Tyrant is because it might be coming at you. And I say that because you might be going to get some ammo. And you'll see me do that exact thing and make a mistake here. But this charge is really wonky. It has a pretty wide hitbox. So dodge when you see the red come up, not when you see her coming at you in general direction, because she'll just change and roll right over you. That opens up a gun strike, gets a little damage on us, gets a good parry, followed by a gun strike, gets another dodge. That is the ground pound that I was referencing earlier. That ground pound can happen after a lash when she pulls you in. There's a lash. We're going to dodge out of that. And the big jump, we dodge out of that. Now there is a delayed sweep attack that we have yet to see. That comes more in that second phase. And trying to really move around right there is going to be crucial, right? Like dodge this one, opens up a gun strike. You do get, it's not an iframe, but you get these little weird moments of increased damage reduction in these gun strike moments. Try not to do what I just did right there and stack it up in the middle of her combo. She does have a combo where she dives in. She'll swing and then come back again, and then there's another swing coming. And I got lucky. I got really lucky and didn't get punished for that. But if you jump, the gun strike doesn't need to happen right away. I could have dodged and just gotten the gun strike right there. I didn't need to press that advantage. Got hit with the lash, and there's a parryable that I did not parry. Lash again, dodged out of it. Swing, swing, and a gun strike. And this is the one that I think gets a lot of people, is this delayed swing, because that lunge attack, whoa, is that like a girder right there? What is up with that? Yeah, it is a girder. Can sometimes come, the jump attack can sometimes lead to a 1-2-3 combo, but this other delayed one, I think people preempt. Just look for the red. Whenever you see this red, hey, you better dodge right now, motherfucker, symbol pop up, that's when you dodge. Not when you think you should dodge because you play a lot of Soulsborne games like myself. I'm always dodging the motion of the character because of those games, whereas this game gives you a very distinct, hey, this is the time to dodge or parry. And if you don't play to that, you will get hit. Another lash here, coming around again. Another delayed swing. That delayed swing too can also kind of not aggro dump, but it can definitely choose a new target. There's that pretty pronounced scream coming at you, Cleopatra. There we go again. Another swing around, and this is pretty much rinse and repeat. Like it's nothing too crazy here. We're just trying to dodge out of those big swings, and that's an example too of, we got a nice gun strike here. We got the lunge attack, dodged it, and then followed by the spin swing, and we have another swing coming in. I dodged this, and I should not have followed up with this attack. I should have waited for this one to go through because I got punished for it. I lost all my armor. So that's what I mean is, usually those combos come in threes, and wait until you're actually clear to hit that third combo. Now there you go. You hear that big old scream? That's a lot more of a pronounced one this time around. that means the Tyrant is going to charge. And if you do what I did, don't see where that charge is coming from, you will get bulldozed right against the ammo crate. So she'll come out of nowhere with that steel chair and punish you hard. So you need to make sure that when you hear that audio cue, you get eyes on the Tyrant, see where it's coming. I mean, if you're next to the wall, you might get a lucky one and it actually destabilizes them, so you can actually do a bit of damage. But this is when you have some fun with... Oops, what did I do? Whoopsies. God, I did it again. This is when you get to have some fun with all of your melted bombs and all sorts of fun stuff here. So the health is coming back. Health is back. That is when you throw your that's when you throw your crack grenades. You can go ahead and drop the melta, but just don't detonate it until the health is back. Otherwise, you'll get caught in a bit of an invulnerability and it won't do any damage. So as soon as you see that their health will come back, and they shoot this big aura out, they're vulnerable again. And you can just keep messing with the timestamps like I've just been doing for whatever reason. And you can see both those cracks just went off right there. Did quite a bit of damage. And I just didn't do things right and got stuck up with the psychic auras, which we'll go into a little bit. So they do have the same Zoanthrope and Neurothrope capability to target the ground with green and really mess you up. You just want to dodge out of those as fast as you can because it will be very punishing. And I made the mistake here of going for this Melt-A-Bomb, which just really put me in a bad situation. But the attack patterns here are going to get a little bit more a little bit faster, a little more hectic, and you can do a lot. So this is a big one I want to show because this is the one that I think a lot of people struggle with. And it's these blades, this blade attack. So when you're at a distance, if you see the red icon, that means it's coming to you. The tactical or the heavy will not have gotten, if they were players, will not have gotten that dodge icon. That means that you specifically, hey, the rock's coming your way. So when that happens, this is what I want to show you. I mean, I like to dodge almost immediately when I see that because you want to recover. And this is what I'm pressing. So you have this big blade that's this entire direction, right? And that's pretty much the entire thing you have to dodge en route to you. If you dodge this way, you're going to have a second blade that's going to come from this direction. And now you have to dodge that. If you dodge this way, you really only need to dodge this portion of it. So that's the important thing here is dodge away from the first blade so that the second blade, when it gets to you, you can see that pretty much, again, we only have this part to dodge. We've recovered enough that we can dodge this second blade. Because again, if I had dodged to the left, I would have had to have dodged this whole, almost the entire width of this. Now, since I dodged to the right, I only need to dodge that little bit. This is the one I think that really catches people up. And it will still catch me. I'm not going to say that, oh yeah, I never get caught by this thing now. You'll see. I might even be this one I get caught in. But I get caught in this plenty because if you don't time the dodge well enough, you will not have recovered. Your character still is stuck in like a post-dodge momentum, like frame lock. So you can't follow up with the second dodge yet. But in that case, we still could and enabled us to get out of it. And that's a real cool pic. That should be the thumbnail. Gives us plenty of room to kind of get around and keep shooting. Those blades are going to be the biggest problem in the second second phase outside of the aura. And this is a good place to show off. So this aura is going to come at you. It's a 360. Well, it's not even really a 360. This thing actually has a bottom. It's just like the Neurothropes. If you're playing with Assault, you can actually jump over this. But let's here's a line. Look what I've done. Look at my amazing graphic design skills. Got a college degree in this shit. So you see this thing's coming our way, right? Well, you want to dodge almost at the point where you think it might be too bad. Like, so let's watch this happen, go through. You can see that I started the dodge right here. So I started way, way too early. Realistically, you kind of want to start the dodge when it's pretty close to your character, because if you dodge early, you don't complete your dodge animation is either too early and it gets caught up, or too late and you just get swept up because you're still not in the dodge animation. So you want to start it when it's a lot closer. Secondly, do not go left, do not go right, do not go back. Just dodge forward. I don't care if you're right here, just dodge forward. Because there's a little time in between the last psychic aura coming out and you recovering from the dodge to get room from the Tyrant. Every time I have dodged either to any one of those directions, and you'll see me do it, I get caught in the aura. It's just because it seems to be some sort of issue with the way the animation works and the way you're basically like jumping from here's the front of it, you're like jumping into like another portion of the back of it. I don't know what it is, but it really is frustrating. So I always recommend dodging forward. So let's see, we get caught in the first one. And just to kind of show where we started that dodge in that second one, we started it where it was pretty damn close, right? And probably showing like a side-by-side would be really cool in this moment. But basically recover immediately, because this can be a cascading effect. You can miss the first one and then just be off base for the second and the third auras, and it's very punishing to get hit by all three of them. And again, that's pretty close when it started, right? We started our dodge almost where it was right on top of us, and it pushed right through it. So that is going to be huge for you. Remember what I said about if the red icon comes up, it means it's targeting you? I don't know why that happened. I swear I didn't make that up. I swear I have encountered it through observation, but clearly I was wrong right there. So I guess that is not always applicable thing, or change targets at the last minute, but I'm not going to like backstep that. Like I've already said the statement now. So again, we come into a dodge here, we get into a gun strike, and here's an example of the second phase can be very punishing. We're already into the ads phase and we have tons of gaunts, and those gaunts are really going to be punishing. So really, with the ads phase, get as much room from the Tyrant as you can to deal with the ads, and give yourself time and pace. Don't simply get so frantic and hectic like I did in this moment. I dodged a big sweeping attack. I would put me in a good spot. I dropped a Melta bomb, which if I detonated it right now would have killed me probably. And try to get a little damage. Sure, we got a good chunk there, you know. We got about half a bubble. But I took a gaunt in the face. I messed up a parry. I almost got hit with that, and then I made a real bad mistake. This wouldn't have been a bad mistake if the Tyrant wasn't in the middle of their aura. So the grapnel launcher from the Vanguard has the ability to interrupt a lot of animations. Not every single one of them, but a good portion of them. So I saw this blade coming out, and I figured, okay, maybe I can get a little bit of breathing room by trying to get a here's the blade, comes out right there, got around it. I figured we were getting a second blade, and I was going to try to get a little bit of breathing room using the grapnel launcher so I could try to free up some of the ads. That is not the case. I clearly messed this up. I grapnel launched into an aura, animation locked me, and it was enough for me to miss the first aura, cool, but then get hit by the second, and then hit by the third, and then get chunked apart by gaunts. So I made just a bunch of errors, and then get hit with the blade. So this is what I mean. Get space from the Tyrant. Don't try to do too much at once, and I really tried to do that here. I tried to do the Melta bomb, I tried the grapnel launcher, I tried to parry, I tried to kill everything. I thought I was Johnny Space. I was not. I definitely was not, and I paid the iron price here. You can see what the result of the iron price was. So I get killed, and thank God I've got the bots up. And in this moment, you know, the Auspex was up. This would have helped me out a ton to really try and free me up. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and I had to get carried a little bit by some bots to get me back on my feet. Tactical doing whatever it can. Let's just kind of push forward here because there's nothing to really talk about in the times in which I'm down. But this, again, just illustrates that if you're soloing this, you do have a little bit of leeway in that they can get you back up. Medicaid coming back online at least, so at least we can try to get some value out of that. But heard that aura coming down, throw some grenades, dodge that, but get hit by my own grenade because I dodged into it. Again, I'm showing off that these are the mistakes that I made because I got a little frantic. I made mistakes and I tried to correct those mistakes rather than just getting room, taking pace, reassessing, and then coming back at the fight properly. So just if you mess up, there's still plenty of time to try and fix it. This was something that I just didn't, I know the grapple launcher interrupts animations. I think if I had started this rather than if I had started this here, yeah, right there, rather than when the red icon came up, I think I would have actually interrupted this animation, and it just didn't work out for me. So definitely learn that if you were playing with the Vanguard. And now we're just going to do the same thing we can. Also, too, with the Medicae, you can see we had a really low health, right? Just try to get a little bit more health with our Medicae, bring us back online a little bit. And this is another example of the swords. If you mess up the dodging timing here, so I got the icon. I took a long time to recover from the previous dodge, and it took me a long time to start the second dodge. Even though I was like, oh man, I definitely cleared it. But my animation lock was still kind of in place right here. I'm still kind of a little bit staggered. And that second one came and just nailed me right square on. In a mortal wound state, that's not where you want to be. Also, too, note this. When you do have a ton of contested health against the Hive Tyrant, you can get a ton of health back by just simply shooting. Especially if you're playing a heavy, just hold down the button and just chunk health out of them, because it gives you proportionate amounts of health back. It's a really weird system. Like if you were to shoot a Gaunt, it wouldn't give you a lot. If you were to shoot an Extremis or a Terminus, or in this case a boss, it gives you a ton for your contested health. Like you can see, we got hit. We'll get out of that. Well, sorry. We get hit right there. And just one 3-round burst gives us quite a bit of health, right? It gave like chunk, chunk, chunk. We went from basically being at 25%, chunk, 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 and that's all half a bubble all the way up. So just rinse and repeat now, same thing, trying to kind of get recalibrated. And this is all stemming from that first initial mistake. It just put me on that back heel, jumping forward as best you can, forward as best you can, trying to keep that movement not from going too crazy and going too far to the left or right. That was a cool little sequence there where we got a cool grapple launcher. Just trying to keep as much distance so we can see these big attacks. Boom, boom. And just to kind of reiterate on this one. Sign came up. We started our second dodge. And right away on our next one. Because those ones they're cascading. They just come right into each other very quickly. We got hit with the lash, coming into a parry, which I did not parry. And I think too, if the lash pulls you in is when you get that ground pound attack. I barely got I think I only got that ground pound attack twice this entire experience, or encounter experience. And we're jumping forward, we're jumping forward, we're jumping forward, right? Just trying to time it right, like pretty much right when that thing's right on our feet. Just again, an example, just to show one more time. I should have dodged right when that happened, but instead I waited, dodged. And of course, the closer you are, the harder it is to get both of them. That's a given, but that's an example of I should have gotten out of the way of that dodge and then recovered enough to get out of the way of the second dodge. Flash, dodge, and then we're going to get the 3 follow-up, but we killed it in time. So hopefully now this helps you out in figuring out how to deal with the Hive Tyrant. This video is 26 minutes long. I just John Madden my way through the whole damn thing of giving you kind of prime examples of how to deal with each one of those movesets, how to kind of work around them. If you get hit with the ground pound after the lash, you got to just dodge backwards, get out of that situation. And that's really what it is with the Tyrant, is getting as much room as you can to recognize the moveset that's coming your way, to dodge and or parry it, and dealing with the adds as quick as you can as well. Those are all big aspects of dealing with this fight. And once you really kind of get your head around those, I think the fight becomes one that you can just easily do in your sleep. Now, if you enjoyed this, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. I'm happy to give you the entire Decapitation mission as its own video. You guys can just kind of see me push through this as a Vanguard, soloing the entire mission with just these 2 bots. But again, that is there for your perusal if you so wish. Just go ahead and let me know below. And hopefully, too, as we start to get closer to more content coming out, we can hit some cool, fun, different angles. I'm hoping we get a new boss with the new operation, since it's on Kataku or Kataku, Klendathu, whatever, and it's supposed to be the end of that engagement. So we'll see what happens with that content. And just to show you too, this is indeed on Ruthless, because 1890 for no Gene Seed is the amount of experience you get for doing Ruthless. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below if there are different things that you do when you are fighting the Hive Tyrant and ways that you can help people get around this boss fight. I know, like I said, with 3.0, people have started to struggle with it, so I'm happy to provide this information. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.